And now we move to the next part of our meeting, which is receiving reports from our community boards. And the first of those is the Waitai Coastal-Burwood Community Board. So Kim Money, Chair of the Board, welcome to the table. We look forward to your update. Thank you.
Thank you. Gosh, how do we follow that? That was amazing. The parents have left, but they must be very proud of him. Yes, good morning, Andrew. Good morning, councillors and staff and the community. This morning I have Joe Wells, our Governance Manager, with me. There is a Part A that you'll be considering this morning, and the board are actually on board with that. Right, as you can see on the reports before you, oh, that's good. That was a good picture of our board. That was a really good picture outside the pier there, thank you. Really good job there, Joe. So, as you can see in your report before you that you have on your screens, you'll see that we have contributed some funding towards certain community groups, which is always really great to be able to do. I'll just highlight one of them was the Parklands Bowling Club. We donated them some money towards their communications, marketing and stakeholder engagement plan. It's a real privilege for the board to be able to do this, for them to be able to progress implementing their stage 2, because this community organisation is a collaboration, as I've told you before, called the Pukiko Centre, and it's the collaboration between the Bowls and the rugby club there. So it's a real privilege to be able to just help this community that have raised hundreds of thousands of dollars to be able to do progress their project. The second thing we have here is that we had a briefing from the Land Information New Zealand to the board. It was a really good meeting. The community board just wanted to have a bit of knowledge on the process of the transitional use of the red zone. So LINZ came and they went through that process, and as you can see up on this, well, you can't really see, can you? There's a few transitional projects already in place, which you can see just dotted around there, and one of the most recent ones is there's a mobile skate ramp that has been added. So that was good to be able to understand that. Oh, this was really exciting. This was fantastic. This is the New Brighton Lions Club, Coastal-Burwood Community Board, and they came and approached Development Christchurch and Community Board and wanted to donate a couple of bespoke sort of microcarpa bench seats. Now, who wouldn't want one of those? I mean, that looks amazing. So we had a bit of an unveiling a week or two ago. We had the governance board from the Lions Club, the New Brighton Lions Club. We had Development Christchurch, who Celia there was doing a lot of the organisation. Excuse me, pulling it all together. We also had Pier and Foreshore represented, the New Brighton Longboarders, and also the people that Apollo Outdoor Furniture who actually made them. And we also needed to give thanks to our Coast Care team and the Council Park staff for just getting on board and making things happen, and also Mike Downs Contracting, who installed them for nothing. So that, look at that, isn't that a beautiful spot? Can't you see yourself sitting on that? So that was really nice, something to enhance our foreshore and for the community to enjoy. Q2 Master Plan, this is still in process. So from a wonderful community day that our staff had organised, we have now collated all that information back. The board have had a workshop with the staff, and so now they're developing a draft master plan, including the vision for the park. So this will take probably a few months, and then the consultation will run for a minimum of about 8 weeks, and the project team are working towards having the consultation done before the end of the year. So that's another really good, exciting project to be completed, running in conjunction with the opening of the Q2 facility. So then we have resource consent workshop. As I've said many times when I've come here to the board, we've got some issues with the high flood hazard management area, so in our ward, but also Linwood Central Heathcote. This is affecting their community as well. So we're having a joint workshop with them and staff on the 13th of August to get more understanding on this for our residents. Going back to the residential red zone, same picture. The Burwood East Residents Association had raised concerns. They're feeling a bit marginalised. There's some issues there on the perimeters of the red zone and the activities that are going on in the red zone, and probably activities that aren't going on in the red zone that they would like to happen, for example. So it sort of stretches right through from roading issues to dumping, the transitional use of the land, and just being sort of in the loop. So we're going to have an on-site meeting with them and with LINZ to see exactly what they are talking about within. They can show us their concerns in the area, and we're going to hear what they have to say and see if we can come up with some collective solutions there. So that would be good, Glenn. We might want to talk a bit about that later. The other thing that's opening, oh, we're not quite there yet. The other thing that's opening is the Regeneration Hub. Christchurch, Regeneration Christchurch Limited is opening a hub in South Shore and South New Brighton to talk about the future coastal hazards and sea level rise with these two communities. I would call it a bit of a pilot scheme. This is the How team engagement, so they've actually got an office down there so that the community can come and go and talk about these things. Also, not really to do with the council, but very much to do with the community board that affects our community, as the ministry announced the zoning, as you'll all be aware of, for the two schools, Avonside and Shirley Boys High School. So the majority of our community is very pleased with this outcome, but there are others, like in the Prestons, that are not. So we're just going to, as a board, keep that conversation going with the Ministry of Education as they review their boundaries over the years. Oh, and now, finally, we have something that was really exciting. This is Gruffalo, okay? And the wee cutie there, I don't have a name, but she is cute. And so as part, this is Gruffalo Explorer, and as part of the Breeze Walking Festival event at Bottle Lake Forest, this event was recognised as the best national event and therefore a winner in the National Golden Foot Walking Awards 2018. And they took the top prize for a community-led project at the Living Streets Aotearoa Awards ceremony held at Parliament Buildings on the 26th of June. So this was really exciting, but this couldn't have happened without the involvement, and I'm going to read them out, St Margaret's College, the Canterbury Play Centre Association, Canterbury Plunket and the Christchurch Parks Library and Community Recreational Teams. And Gruff, now you've got to keep this a secret, is our own Warren Hunt. And he is just amazing because there were characters, all sort of the St Margaret's students. They dressed in character from the Gruffalo and they placed themselves around Bottle Lake, so the kids were finding them, and as they did they sort of gave them a little bit of an education. But Gruff, our dear Warren, he took it one step further because he offered the children a hoo-hoo grub to eat, and if they didn't take up that challenge, he ate it in front of them himself. So there you go, Andrew, that's a little bit of something that you can probably right up your alley, hoo-hoo grub eating. So there were 2,500 participants that morning, mostly they're preschoolers with their grandparents. So that is absolutely a wonderful result, and congratulations to everybody involved. So thank you. That's mine. Any questions?
That's great. Thank you very much. And that does leave a little bit of time for questions. Are there any questions from councillors? So Vicky and then Glenn. Vicky.
Two questions. Thanks for the information about the LINZ and the transitional use of the red zone. I'm just going through the form on online that you apply through, but is there a person that you can talk to?
Yes, there are a couple of people that came to us.
Cool.
There are names. I can't give you those just on the top of my head.
So names would be really. Is there some names that we can actually publicise so that people who have ideas can contact them? Because just a form is slightly impersonal.
It is. We haven't looked at that. Well, we can certainly look into that. That's a good idea.
That would be great.
Yep.
The second part, the now $17.5 million fund that sits with Internal Affairs for the residential red zone. Have you talked to Regenerate about that and how people may access that?
The 17.5 million.
The 15 million that I understand is now 17.5 million because it's been getting interest. Yeah, that one.
Sorry, no, we don't know about that. Sorry.
I was just thinking it might be quite useful for some of your.
That was the Prime Minister's fund of 15 million.
That's what's gathering interest. No one knows about it.
So maybe there's an offline conversation we can have about that so that you are aware of any opportunities that might exist and have a think about how you might engage the community in that. That's useful. It's a good outcome.
Staff,
yep.
That would be great.
Is that tagged particularly to the east? No, it's tagged for the residential red zone as I understand it. But as I understand it, it's worked through Regen. But I think it would be quite good if people understood it.
No, it hasn't.
All right, so let's get some information to you as the board chair so that you can find out what there is, what it's earmarked for and what influence you might have on how it's used. That's a good outcome. Excellent. Glenn?
Yeah, mine were more comments. So did you want those now or at the end of the...
Yeah, go on.
Okay, all right. A couple of comments then. I think it's through DIA, that fund, anyway, that with the residential red zone, we're in a totally new space, including, I think, 4 LINs. So we're initiating a meeting with all the agencies to try and get things off on a better footing, because residents around there, Burwood, Avonside and Dallington, are being cut out of the equation. So a lot of agencies and people with initiatives are ticking all the boxes, but the residents' box isn't being ticked. And so we need to get people together. That's what we're doing there, so that we get greater ownership. Over the school zones, the ministry decided to give the original feeder school zones a 13-year period by which their children can go to school. My thinking on this is, why not make it permanent? If it can be 13 years, let's make it permanent. So it's half a win, but we still need to take it further over that. It's good that, you know, we pushed back and got that result, but we need to take it much further.
Yep. My understanding is there's been an offer of engagement, or there's been a reasonable level of engagement between the ministry and your board.
Yep.
Good.
Which is good.
Excellent. Yep.
Yep. And of course, Preston's misses out. There are some role reviews coming up, and we'll see whether we can progress that as well.
Yep. Great. All right. Thank you. So, Glenn, you're happy to move this? Okay. David, you're wanting to second? Yep. All right. So this has been moved and seconded to receive the community board report. All those in favour say aye. Against? That's carried.
Thanks
Great.
very much.
Thanks, Kim, very much indeed for your presentation this morning. Thank you.